Hello fellow goldsmiths, hi apprentices, hello curious creatures out there in YouTube that are keen to see how we make things at the jewelry bench. My name is Jaco, this is my workshop, and today I'm going to show you a step-by-step process of how to make a line bracelet.
Alright, that's the tube. It's 4.42 millimeters in diameter and it's 0.55 millimeters thick.
Taken the dividers and I've divided the tube with a 3 millimeter height. 3 millimeters is going to give me 1 millimeter for the stone to be seated, 1 millimeter for the gap, and 1 millimeter for the bottom structure. For those of you that are really new at this, when you've traced a line, always cut outside the line so that when you're done, you could work it off exactly to the height that you mark off. So I'm cutting just left of the line. There we go, 3 millimeters. And you would have noticed I found myself a little space where I can lock this thing in, and I pressed with my hand towards the bench back, towards that direction. That way I've got complete control when I'm doing my cutting. It's completely clamped, and I only do small sections to make sure I don't slip or go over the line. Alright, so what we have is a tube of 3 millimeters. That side's got some bow which we'll clean up. Put that aside for the moment. Before you mark your next 3 millimeters for the next tube, make sure to clean off the burr from the cut, and then we're ready to cut the next one. For this kind of thing, I'll literally just leave my divider on exactly the same size to make sure that each one of them are exactly the same. Again, cut just next to the line so to make sure that you've got the 3 millimeters exactly where you want it. None of the steps that we're taking should be rushed. If you take care with all of these little things and you go real slow with it to make sure that the item is perfect, and you continuously do that, eventually your speed will increase and your quality will remain the same. There we go. 2 links. Alright, for the time being, I'm going to use 3 links to explain this particular step-by-step process. I'm not making an entire silver bracelet, I'm doing it specifically to explain the concept to my customer so that she understands exactly how it's made and she has a good idea of the whole process.
Because we have a wire that's going to come out the one side and fold back over each other, and we're going to have a hole on the other side, we're not going to do the entire tube, so we're actually just going to do a split halfway, stop, leave a gap, and then a split to the other side again.
Here's a neat trick. So what I've done is I've created these little lines as I've shown before. Now to make sure that you've got a perfect square, so you know where to put the 4 wires, or whichever amount of wires you're going to be using, in this case I'm using 4, is place the tube on top of a drawing plate on a hole that's smaller than the actual diameter of the outside, and then use a square punch. And all you do is you just literally press it in and move it around a little bit, and what you will have will be 4 indicators exactly where your 4 corners would be. You can just trace that to the outside and then cut the lines for the actual claws.
Alright, the next thing to do would be to utilize the 2 lines that we've cut now, because we've cut the lines for the actual claws. There's one on that side and one on that side. And on opposite sides, what you want to do is you want to run your divider into the actual groove and mark the halfway mark from the bottom line right down to the bottom. So you're marking that side, and then you turn it around to the opposite side, then you do the same that side. So you'll see there's a little mark there. I'll be drilling a hole on that actual point there, and the reason why we take the line all the way down is that's where the corresponding wire is going to fold in, so we have to groove a little half round section out that side. I'm going to grab a very small drill to drill the pilot hole, so I'll start with a 0.5. Make sure your fingers are out the way and then just drop the hole. Turn it around, same position. There we go. Since I've drilled, this is just me being fussy, but if you're thinking about the direction of a drill is going that direction, so naturally when you, even if you've made the hole very accurately, you're going to have a pull towards that direction. And to counteract that now, I drilled them with the holes towards the bottom, so the bottom of the bracelet facing that direction. Now with the second hole I'm going to turn that around to counteract what I've done in the first place. The little pilot holes, can you see it? No, you won't be able to see that. Alright, now it's time to remove the metal from either side. So we've got that gap that runs through. You can cut right up to the line because you're going to have a little claw running over it, so that's perfectly fine, so long as we leave the little space where you've just drilled the holes, so we can retain the structure on that side. That's what I'm trying to achieve right there. I've left the sides the holes for the structure. I've cut the lines out on the side, and then I've used the BB or parallel phrase just to round them off nice and neatly towards the inside. Hope you can see that. Alright guys, I've now added the wires into the little holes. You really just need it to stick through a tad because we're going to be working it off on the inside anyway. The wires fit nice and snug in there. You're only going to solder it on the one side, so we've got these little stems sticking out of them like that. The idea is to come back afterwards and put a little groove where we've made the mark right underneath the hole for this wire to come back onto itself. These are extra long. You don't need to have them that long, but it's better to have a bit of a longer wire than to cut it off afterwards. This is easier to work with. you've got two grooves at the bottom. So there's a hole and a groove. Essentially, this wire from the other side will come back through that hole, fold out here, and fold back onto itself, which is why you've got a groove there. The wire thickness, I started with 1mm and it just seemed a bit too thick. With the wire being on the outside and the diameter of the stone lying on the inside, I've decided to go with 0.8mm wire to do the claws. I'll quickly solder those on and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Alright, this is where we're at. As you can see with these two over here, I've already sort of threaded them through. It helps to pull the wire and put a curve on it, obviously, because once you go into the little hole you've made on that side, it's just going to bounce up against that side, the other side. So it's good to make a little curve, and then from there onwards you pull that straight back right on top of the other one. Right, here we go. So if you follow every one of the steps, you should have the same result as me. It's that's a neat way to approach this, I guess. It's all functional. I've just flattened out the bottom here.
Couldn't be easier. I'm glad that you watched it all the way to the end. I really appreciate all the previous comments and all the videos I've gotten. If you've got any questions, or if you'd like me to do some tutorial on something else, place it in the comments and I'll have a look and see if we can put a video together for you. If you like this video, it'll make me feel warm and fuzzy. If you subscribe, that'll be fantastic. Thank you for watching. Till next time. Cheers.